Okay, and it is actually very straightforward, but let me just put in front so that we all understand how to structure our own session. Okay, so the structure of slides, the first slide number 1. Okay, by nature, the first slide is always your title slide. Title slides means your topic. Okay, to save time, you can also put your name at the bottom. Cukup. Nak tambah lagi, nak put your qualification and whatnot, go ahead, no problem. But what's important is the title and the name. That's number 1. Okay. Some of you, because you want to have a little bit element of surprise, you don't want to reveal your title first, you can have 1 slides before, maybe just for the icebreaker. Okay, so that one is optional, but necessary. You need to have a title slide. If not, people don't know what you're talking about. Okay. Number 2, these are basic. You can add on to this. I'm just talking about the basic. Number 2, you will need to present your learning outcome. Full sentence. Make sure your learning outcome is the same as the one in your session plan. And session plan, top part, you have your learning outcome, you just copy paste, put back in the slides. Because this carries marks. Okay, so number 1, title. Number 2, your learning outcome. So then, what do we talk about? Number 3 is your content. Now, content here varies. Different people may have different amount of content. Mungkin banyak, mungkin sikit. So you may have a few slides. Maybe you have a couple of slides here. When you do your content, my recommendation is 1 slide, 1 story. 1 slide, 1 cerita, 1 slide, 1 key point. That way, you will be able to know how much you are progressing and you can manage your time a bit better. So let's say in total, suddenly you have 15 slides. So you have an idea, okay, 1 slide, 1 minute. So when the timekeeper raise up 5 more minutes, you tengok, oh, I still have a few more slides, then you move faster a bit. Okay, so usually, the number 3 is your content. Now content can be many things. You can put pictures and whatnot. So this is your bulk. Number 4, not number of slides, but number 4, what you need to do, what you need to have is your Q&A trigger slides. You want to trigger questions from the audience. I put the Q&A, you can just put a question mark, boleh. You can even put any questions from the floor. Do you have anything to ask me? Anything to trigger questions. So you have your title, your objective, your content, then you trigger for questions. Okay? So from there, you answer. This is the opportunity for you to elaborate on different tools. Maybe the whiteboard ke apa ke. Yes?
Boleh tak kita embed the question along the way?
Boleh. Okay. Boleh. You can pick up questions at any point of time here also. You can pick up any questions here. No issue, you still get marks. This one is just in case you don't have any more questions. If let's say you have the cues here, the questions here, and then up to this point you already have like 3 or 4 questions from the floor. At this point of time, you can actually limit it to 1 more last question. The purpose of having this is because we are being assessed. So because of the assessment, there's marks on effective handling of question. By putting up this slide, you will at least get the idea of how to manage question, meaning you are welcoming question. That's the one.
Just in case,
sure.
Just in case situation whereby as you go along with your slide content, and then people ask you questions.
Okay.
So when you go to that, just check anyone any more questions.
Exactly.
Nobody asks you questions. Would you be penalized
No,
on that?
no, because the question is already received a couple of questions in the content. Counted. It's just a checkpoint to trigger. Okay. So once you get that, means this is done. Then the 5th slide you go into your review. Okay, the review, like I mentioned here, is either a quiz or a practical session. Yeah, practical session. This is your, basically what you are doing here is you are reviewing. What are you reviewing actually? Correct. You are reviewing to check whether people got number 3 or not. Usually the question is coming from the content. You get what I mean? Faham kan? So soalan-soalan dekat review ni mesti berkaitan dengan content. Don't ask question that is outside of the content. It's not fair. You teach something, you ask something else. Tak boleh. That's not right. Betul. The question must be from your main content. Let's say, if I recall correctly, Siga punya topik, can I share that? Okay. So Siga punya topik is on project management. So dalam project management, Siga has how many components? 9 components. So maybe one of the question is, okay guys, just to recap, how many components in project management? 8, 9, 10? 9. Betul. Next question. Name me 3 of the components. This one. Oh betul. Okay. That 2 question. Cukup. Because that is the real content. That's it. Okay. Kalau dia nak ada masa lagi, dia boleh tanya. Okay. Give me an example of component cost. Oh, this. Oh betul. Okay, done. Settle. Now if you are doing a skill, let's say for example your skill is how to there's one participant who spoke about table tennis. So how to serve. So serve ni ada cara dia. So dia panggil satu volunteer. Okay, show me how to hold the pad using a pen hole. So, pen hole tu pegang macam ni. So another hole apa shake hand, palm hole pegang macam ni. So okay lah, dia tunjuk dan so that is practical. Faham kan? Okay. After the quiz, after the practical, basically you're going to finish off. So once you finish off, you go with number 6 is your closing. Closing is where you do a summary. Now this summary must tie up with your learning objective. So this ties up with number 2. Boleh faham? So jangan salah match. The quiz, the review, the practical must be related to the content. The closing must be related to your learning objective. And then for courtesy purposes, you have a final thank you slide. Bagi love sikit for the people person. So at least adalah sikit that. So what you have here is actually the structure of your training. If I put it here, up and here. So this is your intro. This is your introduction. This is your body, the main component of your training, and this is basically your closing, your ending. So it has a start, a middle, and an end. So if your slides ada ni, shoot. Some of you may want to put in the, like I mentioned, the icebreaker before the title. Some of you boleh. Some of you maybe want to put the icebreaker before the learning objective. Boleh. But don't put the icebreaker dekat content lah. Dia lebih lambat. The icebreaker should be around here, because icebreaker is at the introduction part. The icebreaker tak boleh masuk dekat the body part, because icebreaker masuk dekat body, it becomes energizer. It becomes different. The category is different. So your icebreaker must be between slide number 0, 1 or 2. Okay. Your content is your content. In content, you're triggering the question, and then you have your quiz. So this is the big chunk. So I think if you look at this, minimum 7 slides, 7 slides minimum. And every slide ada makna. Every slide has purpose. Every slide has meaning. That is important. It's not about the number of slides. It's not about cantik tak cantik. That one different. This is the necessities. Kena ada. Any questions? All good? Yeah.
Kalau question diselangsikan dalam konteks adalah sesuai.
Question Q&A ke quiz? Yang ni kan? Nombor 4 ke nombor 5? Nombor 5. Diselang-seli dekat sini. Boleh, sebab dia masih lagi dalam body. You can play around by incorporating the quiz at after every content. So kalau dalam question tu Asra, make sure that every slide content ni satu isi je. Tapi dia punya downside of it is, you baru cerita, lepas tu you tanya balik, memang orang ingat. Kenapa kita delay sikit? Sebab nak tengok dia betul-betul ingat ke? Tu je. Boleh tak salah? Ya.
Ada boleh tak? Kadang-kadang dalam kita nampak dalam Facebook atau dia macam sikit. Tapi dia related tu, tu dia tanya balik. So dia nampak tu dia relate balik dengan konteks.
Boleh, tak ada masalah. Dia quiz.
Nak tahu apa yang dia belajar, dia nak belajar.
Betul. Okay, biasanya if you have a video and the quiz is related to what's happening in the video, that is a deeper level of knowledge. Maksudnya dia kena gunakan knowledge yang dia dah belajar. So dia bukan straightforward answer lah. If you have time, okay. Kalau masa tak cukup, jangan buat macam tu, sebab the video itself dah makan masa. Lepas tu nak pastikan orang dapat jawapan yang tepat pun akan take time sikit. So be mindful of that. Saya ambil satu contoh.
I plan to do a practical demonstration, and then at stage 3 I also plan to, so participant will do a practical also at the same.
Okay.
Yeah. Boleh ke?
Highly advisable. Your practical is this one, nombor 5. Sebelum you start the practical session, get questions dulu. Sebab takut practical session drag, nanti dekat sini you terlepas the question punya, and then dia lebih kemas lah. Kalau tak kelang kabut kan, nak buat practical, lepas tu ada soalan apa nanti. Make sure you plan it carefully lah. But I think shouldn't be an issue. Okay, saya ambil satu contoh. Take one example. Let's say Arif buat graphic design graphic design so tajuk dia on graphic design. Let's say for example Arif punya graphic design talking about how to design a logo. So going through this, gives you an example. So the ice breaking, maybe dia cerita pasal, kenal tak logo-logo ni? Do you recognize these logos? Okay. What are the elements in this logo that makes it recognizable? Masing-masing ice breaking Okay, very good. Now, kenapa saya start off with that question is because saya nak bercerita tentang how to design logo. Nama saya Arif, saya adalah graphic designer. Cukup. Moving along. Di akhir sesi ini, kita semua akan kenal what are the elements that is important when you want to design logo. Okay, let's go straight into the content. Content number 1, most important is the shape. So, ini contoh-contoh bentuk-bentuk logo, bulat, segitiga, semua bla-bla-bla. Okay, next, number 2, warna. Kita ada warna panas, warna sejuk, warna apa? Okay. Number 3 adalah penggunaan teks, typography. Typography yang mana yang sesuai? Okay, very good. So, let's take a look at this combination in action. Ini logo apa? Ini logo apa? Ini logo apa? Alright, done. Faham Ada apa-apa soalan tak? Soalan. Saya pernah tengok ada logo dia tak pakai pun teks. Is that okay? Arif pun jawab kenapa. Basic ada ni, tapi kadang-kadang ada orang for style purposes, right now orang suka minimalist, dia tak pakai ni. Okay, fine. Okay, ada lagi soalan? Saya ada satu soalan. Kenapa ada setengah logo mahal, ada setengah logo murah? Arif cerita sikit. Okay, fine. Ada lagi soalan? Tak ada soalan. Good. So jom kita buat quiz sikit. Now, if you are going to design a logo for this purpose, antara A, B, C, yang manakah logo yang paling sesuai? A. Okay, let's check. A, betul. Okay. One more question. Let's take a look. Kalau kita design logo, and then the requirement of the logo is to be printed ni. Which colour yang kita patut pakai? Yang ni, betul. Alright, dengan itu saya kira kita semua dah faham what are the elements of logo. Recap balik apa elemen logo? Bentuk, warna, teks. Okay, very good. Last, ada apa-apa soalan lagi? Tak ada? Alright, dengan itu saya kira whatever I taught you, hopefully you can use this in your future when you set up your own company, your brand and so on, so on. Terima kasih. Habis 15 minit, settle lah. Lulus! Oh, straightforward ni, straightforward ni. Ya, betul. Soalan ni Abang Jatin tadi adalah dia nak apakah elemen-elemen dalam dia capture balik. Senang.
Saya ada
Okey.
Take question, dia pump, dia tulis dulu.
Oh, okey, okey.
Lepas tu nanti cover dekat stage 5 ke lah.
Q&A, ya. Sini. Okey. Okey. Your strategy in managing question. Of course, like I said, any question you get throughout your session, marks will be counted. Tak ada masalah. But there is always pro and cons to every strategy. For example, if you start off the session and say, okay guys, I'm going to talk about this. If you have any questions along the way, please do not hesitate to ask. Maksudnya, trainer ni, he or she is very confident that he or she can manage the time very well. Because if you get question along the way, banyak soalan, then your timing, your planning drag. So you tak boleh nak ensure that 15 minit tu timing dia cantik lah. So that is the risk. Now, if you say, for example, okay, at the end of the session, I will have a Q&A slot. If you have any questions, please hold on and ask me during that time. The risk is, sampai sini, dia ada soalan. But then, dia tak pick up the question. Then you go to the next content, soalan dia dah terjawab. The answer, the person got the answer already. So what happens when you reach here? No more questions kan? So, burn lah. So, rugi lah. So the strategy of parking a question to the side is actually a strategy to manage so that you still get the question. Tapi macam saya, I'm the type of person that kalau orang tanya, saya tak seronok. I don't quite like to park it at the side and then nanti, because the person is already ready to learn. Remember law of readiness? So bila dia tanya soalan tu, dia dah ready nak belajar. So if you don't give the answer, nanti kata kena tunggu, dia macam down sikit lah.
Kadang-kadang dia tak boleh connect lah.
Yeah.
Soalan tu dia dah macam diluted.
Exactly.
Kesian dia.
So that's my suggestion. Because kita very crucial. Number one is in terms of time. And then because we ramai, I just give you a straight guide lah dekat sini. Like I said, depends on your comfort level and your creativity. You can play around, but make sure these 7 items are in place, and make sure it's related accordingly. Jangan tersalah lah. That's about it. Yeah.
Slide ni kita kena submit.
Slides tak perlu submit. You don't have to submit your slides. Your slide is being used in the session. You only need to put in your session plan. So if you notice this, your session plan, the flow of your session plan is, okay, number 1, introduction. So ni tak payah cerita, introduction. The body is in your lesson plan. This is your learning points. Learning points. This is in the session plan. In the session plan, this is your learning point, and this is your closing in your session plan. So only this part in your session plan you need to elaborate a little bit further. The intro tak ada masalah. The closing, you have your quiz. You have your quiz, ini penting. And ini, it's good enough. Yeah, you don't have to put the question there. Alright, boleh?
So,
Go ahead.
on the intro and icebreaker, do you need to have a slide prepared?
Not
You have to flash it, yeah?
icebreaker, no need to flash it unless your icebreaker is related to something on the screen. What do I mean? Example, you have a picture and you want to engage people with that picture. Maybe you have a picture of somebody going for an interview. Okay, what do you guys see in this picture? Itu boleh lah. Then you have that icebreaker. If you do it verbally, tak payah lah. But the title must be there lah. Itu boleh? 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 Yes.
Kalau part body kan, kita buat practical review dulu. Lepas tu dia at the end of body part kita baru buat Q&A, boleh ke?
So means you nak mergekan ni dengan ni, and this one later. Boleh tak, because you're going to do skill kan, boleh. Cuma saya punya suggestion is before you call people to come to do the practical session, one of your contents ini mesti ada summary of the steps. This one is mainly for skills. I must put note here. Only for skills training, you must have one slide compulsory summary of the step. Because itu akan like wrap up the content for that part. And why this is important? Because this particular slide you can print and it becomes your handouts. So dapat markah untuk handout juga. Those yang buat skill lah. Siapa yang buat skill, you have the opportunity to just tarik keluar satu, pull out, plug out one of the content, it becomes the standalone slide, then you print, jadi dia do strategi lah, that one creativity. Yang penting sekarang saya just nak tunjukkan what is the compulsory items. Boleh? Macam makin pressure.
Hari yang mendebarkan.
Well, anyway, I'll leave this on the board. Lepas tu, as I explain today's session, then kita akan come back and relate accordingly. Dah ambil gambar kan? Just in case terpadam ke apa. Ya? Official photographer. Okay, so that's the idea. Very straightforward. Now